Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. As you all know, this is coronavirus pandemic time that everybody is staying, including myself. Everybody is staying indoors, including myself. And for this reason, it is very imperative that we begin to educate Biafrans, Oduduwas, and others who are residing in the decaying and collapsing Nigeria on the measures they must take immediately. The measures you must take immediately, because we don't want to see you being infected with this coronavirus. We don't know. Most of the people in Nigeria are very sick without knowing it. Most of you have diabetes. Most of you have other health related issues. And because we have waited thinking that the government of the day would for once, live up to the responsibility of sensitizing Nigerians. But since that is not happening, Biafrans are people who will always stand for justice to protect others. For that reason, we have come, and I have come this afternoon to embark on the sensitization and trying to tell you the measures you have to put in place immediately. From the right source, I am telling you, the cases in Nigeria now is over 1,000. Over 1,000 persons has been infected in Nigeria with coronavirus. And the Nigerian government, as usual, they have started playing politics and lying and hiding the cases, confirmed cases. And they have been hiding it and lying to the public and to the media and to the entire world. Tomorrow they will tell you four cases in Lagos, one case in Ibadan, 2 cases in this place, 1 case in that place. It is total lie. Confirmed cases in Nigeria now is over 1,000. And since it has there is confirmed over 1,000 cases confirmed in Nigeria, you can imagine the way it is going to be spreading every day on daily basis. And there is no measure being put in place by this government. Also, from the right source, the government, why you have not heard anything from the government is that the government is waiting to receive some fund from the World Bank or from whichever channel they want to get the fund from. And there is also information coming and reaching us is that they are waiting to receive some equipment. When you hear Garuba Shehu talking yesterday about equipment, I am going to play that video again because it is important now that I make this topic and let everybody understand. Why Garuba Shehu was talking about that do Nigeria want to see the president bringing in equipment to Nigeria for the coronavirus pandemic, or do they want to see the president speak? The point is that this government is planning to import used material from China. Quarantined used material from China according to confirmed information that we are getting. And this quarantined whatever what they want to import from China, this equipment, nobody is sure whether this equipment has these viruses in them. And you can imagine what is coming from China at this point in time. The Nigeria government is importing the fairly used materials from China to be used in Nigeria. So every Nigeria must rise up. Those of you who are yet to contact this coronavirus must wake up that the danger that is ahead, that is to come, and that is befalling Nigeria is something that nobody has ever seen in the history of Nigeria. It has been estimated that over 40 million people could die in Nigeria alone. Over 40 million people could die in Nigeria alone. And you know how many people are going to the north. How many people are going to the northern Nigeria in the middle of this terrorist, in the middle of this terrorism, in the middle of all this attack and kidnapping in the northern Nigeria? How many people will go from the west to north Nigeria to infect them with coronavirus? The answer is none. None. So, northwest and northeast is safe. Nobody will go from anywhere to the northeast and northwest to infect them with coronavirus. And this whole coronavirus is going to end in Abuja and in southern part of Nigeria and maybe part of the middle belt. And that is why this government, this terrorist controlled government, can never take anything serious. And that is why we are calling on Nigerians, we are calling on Biafrans to make sure they take up precaution taken by other countries. Don't wait for Nigeria government to tell you anything, because nothing is coming from Nigeria government. Like you have already heard from the horse's mouth. The spokesperson of the presidency have come to say that they don't want to scare Nigerians. They don't want to make people to panic. Rather, instead of them to creating the panic so that people will go indoors and take the measures, the precaution that other developed countries, including America and Europe, have taken, those precautions created the fear that needed to save lives of their citizens. So now I'm going to play a video that I've posted that video on my page. I will play this video so that you people will understand what is going on, what to do. Don't wait for government. In Nigeria, a lot of you still live with your parents. Families in Nigeria are one. And we live like maybe most of you are 10 in your families. All of you sleep in the same house, eat from the same pot, do things together. So if one person is infected in your family, you can imagine the danger you have brought to your family. You can imagine exposing your entire family to coronavirus, especially your aged mother and your aged father. So it is very important. In Nigeria, you live with families. You are not living alone. At least the biggest percentage of you are not living alone in Nigeria. So once one person is infected with coronavirus, it is now the entire family has been exposed. So this must be taken very important. As I'm talking to you, I have been indoor for almost 2 weeks now. I have not been going to work. I have not been doing anything for the past 2 weeks. Of course, working from home. And that is the measures that the government of where I am staying has put in place. That everybody must stay home. You must stay home to save lives. Not just saving your own life. You are saving your family life. You are saving your neighbor's life. You are saving every other person's life. And if you must go out, if you go out, you come back, you wash your hand. You wash your hand very well. And these things has been, the awareness has been created, and everybody is taking the precaution and taking the advice of government very seriously. As we have seen what is going on in Italy, for example, we see what have happened in Wuhan, China, and what the rest of the world. So people in Nigeria, this government is bound to use coronavirus to, it is going to be another jihad for them, because this coronavirus is going to end in the southern part of Nigeria. It is not going to the core north. Nobody goes there. So now I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this video so that you will understand.
Sober up. COVID-19 respects no national borders, no social bounds, no political systems, and no cultural values. It hits us just as hard. It levels the world. Facing the pandemic, it is not what happened matters. It is how we respond. For almost a month, it infected thousands in Wuhan in a day, and every hospital bed was occupied. Now, empty beds and closed wards in the city. How did China make it? It is nothing new, but it's worthy to know. According to an initial WHO report, an infected person appears to spread it to an average of 2.6 people. And after 10 generations of transmission, with each taking 5 or 6 days, that one in it.
So are you listening? Are you watching this? When one person is infected, it spread. And now, as I'm talking to you today, 23rd of March 2020, over thousands of people has been infected in Nigeria, and Nigeria government are hiding the information from the public, claiming they don't want to scare the public. And before you know it, it will spread to 1 million, and you do not know how to prevent being infected, or how to take these preventive measures so you will not be infected with this virus. And this is fact. Once one person is infected with this virus, it spread like anything. Now continue.
The case has spawned 3,500 in matters of days. And that is what the world is seeing. What China did is to break the cycle by human intervention. The scale unprecedented in history. Extreme, draconian, and aggressive. These are the words used to describe China's response. But now, people have come to terms with the new norm, lockdown. Some people say, isn't that a violation of individual?
Now, what the the measure China used is lockdown, total lockdown. Total lockdown. And I am talking to you now, as you are looking at me live, I am in lockdown. I am in my home, and I am working from my home. That is what this man meant by lockdown. Total lockdown in Nigeria. You see, one street in Nigeria have thousands and thousands of people. Once one person is infected in the street, for example, Lagos, thousands of people in one street in Lagos. Once one person is infected with coronavirus in one city, in one street, it will go like very speedily to other people. You can see how they can now, this coronavirus can be spread, how fast it can be spread to your street, and it is time for lockdown. If you don't have any business coming out, do not come out. Prevent your family and yourself from being infected. Now continue watching.
Rights? Actually, the balance between individual rights and public safety is always an ever-changing equation. After 9/11, all the airports in the world began to impose draconian safety checks on passengers, and people accepted it because we traded a little of our freedom for the greater good of the public. China imposed the largest and most draconian quarantine in history. Factories shut, public transport stopped, and people stayed indoors. By doing that, it flattened the curve. On one hand, China avoided many millions of cases and tens of thousands of deaths. On the other, it stretched out the time and made the hospitals restaffed and less strained. This is exactly what Europe and America should know. Public policy needs both
And
ends to
he
agree.
tell you,
The decision makers.
he tell
and the
you this is
recipients.
exactly what Europe and America should know. And Europe and America knows this, and that is exactly what they did. That was exactly, and that is exactly what Europe and America did. And they have saved a lot of lives. Today in Nigeria, the terrorist-controlled and incompetent Fulanis are telling you a different story. That they don't want to scare people. They don't want you to be afraid. That is why they are not telling you anything. And today, as I'm talking to you, thousands of people of cases has been confirmed in Nigeria. You can imagine you Biafrans who are trading in Idumota and what have you in Lagos. If you go to your shop in Idumota and all of a sudden somebody who have coronavirus without even knowing it will come to your shop, touch all your items, you touch your items, you wipe your nose, you wipe your mouth, and that is the end. You contacted this virus. Take it to your street in your homes, or your children or your brothers and sisters have the same virus. It is really the biggest crisis. It will become the biggest crisis. It will spread like fire to all the Biafrans doing businesses in Idumota, doing businesses in a trade fair, doing businesses in Alaba International. Think about it. This will be the biggest warfare. This will be the biggest warfare used against you. Because when somebody comes to your shop to buy, and the person happens to have contracted this virus, and you don't know whether you are diabetic, you don't know whether you have any heart-related disease, you don't know whether you have blood pressure or what have you, and then this coronavirus, you contracted it immediately, it will just finish you. It will just, your case is very easy for coronavirus to finish you. And this is going to be the biggest epidemic. But now it is pandemic according to them. But it is going to be the worst thing to hit Nigeria in the history of mankind. Prevent it by taking the measures other countries have taken. Close your shop in Lagos. Close your shop for at least 2 weeks in Lagos. Close your shop for at least 2 weeks in Biafra land. Close your shop and stay indoor for at least 2 weeks wherever you are in Nigeria. Stop going to the shop. Stop going to churches. You don't know who have contracted this virus coming to your church, and you'll be going to church, and when you contract this virus, you spread it to your family members, you spread it to your loved ones without knowing it. And by the time you test positive, before you know it, another person in your family will test positive, and those who have any health-related issues will be losing their lives. And like I said, it has been estimated that over 40 million Nigerians are going to die. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is real. Over 40 million Nigerians are going to die. Are you going to be part of or among the 40 million because of your ignorance? Because this advice is coming from Biafra agitators? Are you going to be one of those 40 million Nigerians that are going to die because of your ignorance and your stubbornness, that you cannot close your shop for 2 weeks? Are you going to allow your ignorance to push you to be one of those 40 million Nigerians that have been estimated that they are going to die from coronavirus? Don't be one of them. Now, continue watching. This is only for sensitization and awareness.
Takers. Quarantine is indeed extreme and extremely restrictive. It needs the people in lockdown to be honest and cooperative. I think what the people of Wuhan did was exceptional. They have the courage, tenacity, and resilience to stay housebound for days, weeks, and months. Most view the quarantine as a civic duty, and that is why it worked. Public health methods are universal. They either work or they don't. We are all human beings. Our etiology is the same, but we have different economies, demographies, and sociologies. Facing a global pandemic, every nation needs a new contract signed between its politicians, businesses, and the public. Desperate times ask desperate measures. This is a desperate time, and we should not put politics ahead of public health, now more than ever. The new coronavirus has been claimed by ideologues. Donald Trump said it justified tighter border control. Bernie Sanders linked it to free healthcare. While in Singapore, every infection case is followed and dealt with. Bit by bit, every country is testing its methods through trial and error. Some paid a high price, and some set a high bar. We should all move ahead with humility. There is no decision without trade-offs, and most of all, there's nothing without skin in the game. And now, the whole world has learned, or is learning, to play.
Now, you see, I want to show you.
Good evening. This day
To
again,
prove to you, this is
once more,
my video of yesterday.
you have, after watching Mazi, listening to. Now, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I am going to play this thing. This, what he said now, is what Nigerians want. No.
By the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. In fact, if only Nigerians are willing to.
Did you hear that? They asked him, why have.
So let me stop here. Let me stop this video because this is the video you have watched yesterday. But what I'm trying to say is this. This presidency have come through this presidency's president spokesman to tell you that they don't want to scare Nigerians. And actually, they should be scaring Nigerians. They should be creating fear to Nigerians so that everybody will stay home. And because that is what every world leader has done. Every country has created that fear so that the citizen will stay and comply to the government measures. And that fear is what Nigeria need to create now. Because somebody is here telling me nobody listening, they're listening to only pastors. That is the point. The government of Nigeria should come out now and create the fear so that people will have to lock down. If you can imagine, if the way this virus is spreading, if like we have, as I'm telling you now, there are cases, over thousands of cases have been confirmed in Nigeria, but they are telling you 4. Tomorrow they tell you 1. Next tomorrow they tell you 1 person is positive. The next tomorrow they tell you 1 person is negative. It is all lies. And by the time you will realize the danger that has befallen Nigeria, it will just explode, because at a time they will not be able to curtail this crisis, this virus that have invaded Nigeria. They will not be able to curtail the cases, and it will just explode like bomb. It will just explode, and that time is coming. But why I have come today is that do not be one of them because of your stubbornness and because of your ignorance. Don't be one of the 40 million people that are going to die in Nigeria, because it has been estimated that over 40 million people are going to die in Nigeria. And you know why? Because Nigeria is about 180 to 200 million people. And according to them, the aged people are about 100 million. People, like the 80 80 million Nigerians, or at least 100 million Nigerians, let's say 100 million Nigerians are like young people, while 80 million Nigerians are elderly people. And the children, of course, are coming also following them. So from this kind of calculation and ratio, it is going to be between 40 million to 50 million people that will be affected by this, or that will die from this coronavirus in Nigeria alone. And this is not a joke. This is not a joke. Everybody must take this very serious. This is no joke. Those of you who are going to the market, those of you Biafrans who are opening your shop, that Africa is hard, it is going to be even more hard for you when you have this virus and there is nobody to take care of you. That is when the life is going to be more hard on you. So if it is closing your shops at least 2 weeks or till the end of April, like a lot of people are suggesting, is what is going to end your life. And because of that, you rather go to shops every day and to get this virus. You can either choose to live now, to live for 2 weeks and die after 2 weeks, or to suffer for 2 weeks and live for the rest of your life. It is a choice that is left for you to make. And that is why I have come the afternoon, this morning, this evening, depending on where you are. We have to embark on this sensitization as very urgent as possible to make sure a lot of sense comes to you. Because once it comes to your street and it is in your, in Nigeria, you live, when you have this house they build in Lagos, you have a lot of people, tenants living in those houses. And once one person gets it in that house, in that building, for example, it's spread very easily because there is nothing like everybody is staying in the same place. So it is this thing is going to spread like wildfire. And it is time, you don't need to wait for the government to tell you to stay at home. We are doing that now on behalf of the government to tell you what is the right thing to do to save your lives. Biafrans everywhere in Nigeria, your life is very important for us. And it is time you listen, and at least listen and believe this one, just this one, because we want you to be alive to see Biafra. Thank you very much. Share this video. Let it go viral.